Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video. So in today's video I'm really excited to share this one because this is my first build in the new world of Sulani, which we just got with the Sims 4 Island Living, and I am so happy with this pack. It's really just blown me out of the water because it is so amazing. But just a little bit of backstory about this kind of yacht restaurant. So basically, if you've seen a couple of my previous videos, you would have heard me speak a lot about the new pack, and I had a couple of ideas what I wanted to do with it, and that is very true. So ever since we've had the Sims 4 Dine Out, I've really wanted to build a yacht restaurant, and there's a lot of references to the sea and just boats in general with that pack. And I've always wanted to build one, but I've never felt like it would fit in with any other worlds. Like, I felt like if I would have placed a boat in the middle of Willow Creek, it would look a little bit strange. And I'm so happy that I actually held out, because as soon as we started getting like island living leaks or like a tropical pack leak, I knew straight away that I was going to do this, and this has been in my head for the longest time. And ever since it was kind of confirmed, I've been planning this build in my head for the past week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't know how long it's been, but I've been planning this build for quite some time, and I'm so happy that I can finally share it with you all today. So as you can tell, this is going to be a yacht restaurant, and I just am so happy with the way this turned out. I absolutely love it. This has got to be one of my favourite builds I've ever done, and I feel like I keep on saying this has got to be one of my favourite builds that I've ever done, but I really do love this one. And I feel like because I've had this idea in my head for such a long time, and it's finally actually a thing and it's not just some image in my head, I just absolutely love it. So hopefully you guys will like it as well. As always, you can download this lot via the gallery. My origin ID is JessicapieYT, or you can just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. So speaking about the new pack a little bit, I haven't actually explored it fully yet, but just from what I've seen, I would really recommend getting it. The new world is absolutely stunning. It is so beautiful. I didn't even think that would be like we could do this in The Sims 4. The producers could actually do this, but they've done it, and it is just so amazing in so many different kinds of ways. But I did actually wait up until midnight last night till this pack released, and the first thing that I did, like I said, I've been planning this build in my head for a really long time. So the first thing I kind of did is I got the pack and I went straight in. I had a few looks at the kind of building bar just because I wanted to see all the different swatches and stuff. And by the way, the furniture is so amazing. It is so breathtaking. The whole pack is, this is definitely one of my favorite packs, and I haven't even explored it properly yet, but it is just, I didn't even think that they would actually come out with such beautiful items in this pack. It really did exceed my expectations. But I came into the game last night, I had a look at a few of the build and buy objects, and then I just kind of scoped out the world. And so I went into each different kind of, there's 3 neighborhoods, and I went into each one of them to try and find the perfect lot to build this yacht on. And whilst I was doing that, I was able to just see all the different kind of areas and all the landscaping, and just, it is so beautiful. I cannot believe that they've actually done this and we've got it now, and I'm just so happy and excited just to play with it. But when I actually scoped out the area, I did then find this perfect lot. So this is actually built on it's in the neighborhood which is on the bottom corner of the map, so it's kind of like the bottom right area. I believe it's kind of like the town area, and I think it's where the same kind of district that the bar is. Now this was originally a beach, but I believe there is actually another beach in the world. So if you would like to just download this and put it into your game, but you have to delete the beach, there is still another one, so your Sims can still go to the beach. But I just felt like this was the perfect lot just because it's kind of at the end, so kind of behind the lot, it kind of goes into like a little dead end, and so that's kind of why I faced it this way, so it looks like the ship or the yacht could just kind of drive straight out of this little cove and straight into the ocean. I am well aware that we can't actually have houseboats, and they're not a kind of real thing. We do have some boat objects over the pack, so you can still have jet skis and little canoes and little kind of sailing boats, but we can't actually have houseboats. But I'm actually really happy that they didn't include them, because with the Sims 3 Island Paradise, they were really glitchy, and it really did affect your performance and the way that you play the game, because it was just forever glitching. So I am really happy with that. I feel like I might do maybe 1 or 2 houseboats though, so in case you want to give the illusion that it is actually a boat just in the water, like a houseboat, I might do that. I'm not completely sure. I have actually got my idea for Sunday's video already planned in my head. I already know what I'm going to be doing, so maybe next week or the following week after that I'm going to be doing that, but I'm not completely sure. It depends if people would like to see that, so let me know in the comment section down below. But as you can kind of see, the main structure of the build is nearly coming together, and this really did not take me that long. I expected this build to take me a really long time, and I kind of set aside around about 6 to 7 hours to allow myself to build this, and it really didn't even take me that long. It took me about 2.5 hours, which really surprised me because I was expecting this to take me way longer than that. But I feel like once I kind of got the general grasp of the shape, it came together really quickly. I did play around with a few different items, and well, not items, a few different like structures and the way of building things and all that kind of stuff, but in the end it did take about 2.5 hours to build this, which I feel like is quite a good amount of time, especially for a boat, which I've never experienced building a yacht before or a boat in The Sims, and so I didn't really know how to do it. You can kind of see that as I'm going and just progressing more through the build, I do kind of go in and make it a little bit more pointier at the front because I felt like it was much needed. One of my favourite areas of this build though is actually the back of the build, and that is because I did this thing with the roofs to kind of make it seem like it was part of the actual kind of like the structure of the build, and I just absolutely love it. I actually used a lot of the Shift C. I don't know if it's termed as a cheat or a shortcut, but it's kind of like an activation thing that you have to do. So if you click on any kind of roof and you click Shift C, it gives you so many more objects to kind of move the roof in any different way that you want it to. So normally you would kind of get little kind of circles, so you can kind of make the roof really circular or really bring it in. But if you press Shift C, then you can do so much more of it. And you'll see me doing it with these kind of the top decking bit, what I'm doing now. You can kind of see that it goes to a slope and then it kind of flicks out. With the Shift C, you can really kind of make anything go the way you want it to. So if you wanted a roof to kind of dip in but then flick out, you can really do that, and it's a really useful little thing. I've only recently found out about it in the last maybe like month or so, but it's so useful, and I didn't even know it was a thing in the game. I think they added it with seasons, I believe, or sometime around that, but I did actually use it quite a lot in this build. But I really like it at the back of the yacht because it's kind of got these two little roofs, and it's got this kind of like little area, and it's really like enclosed, and it's got a few sofas out there, and I just really love that area. Although I do love the whole build in general, that's probably like my favorite area of the build. But as you can kind of see, I'm just going around and just adding more windows. I did also just make that kind of the front deck a little bit more pointier, just because again I felt like it just kind of needed to be a little bit more pointier. And now I'm actually going to go in and just add some staircases. So this build does have 3 levels. The first level is just kind of like the dining area with the kitchen. The second level is kind of like the toilet area, and then there's an upstairs patio which kind of looks out into the sea, and that's got a few tables and chairs as well. So maybe your Sims want to request maybe like an ocean view or something and actually sit upstairs on kind of like the patio area. And then on the third level there is as well some more dining area, like some more tables and stuff. There is also a bar as well, and then there is also some lounges. I know that you wouldn't really typically find lounges in a yacht kind of restaurant, but I just really wanted to use the new items in this pack, and so I just added them in there. Obviously if you don't want the lounges and you don't want them to be in a restaurant, you can just delete them and just replace them with a couple more tables. But moving on, you can kind of see that I've started doing the landscaping, and this was actually the first time that I've used any of the plants or anything like that. Obviously this was the first build that I've done, so I hadn't really played around with them. I kind of had a look at them when I kind of went through and did kind of like a build and buy overview for myself, but this was the first time I actually got to play with them and put them all in together, and they are so beautiful, and I'm really happy. I feel like especially with the Oasis Springs, they will fit in so lovely. With that world, I do actually struggle to landscape it a little bit because I feel like some plants are more for like the Willow Creek kind of worlds and Newcrest kind of worlds, whereas I feel like whenever I come in and landscape in Oasis Springs, I really do struggle. But I feel like with all the new plants and trees and flowers that we got in this pack, that it's going to fit really well into that world. But as you can kind of see, I've now moved on and I'm starting furnishing this build, and I started off with the kitchen. I did do kind of like the wallpaper and the flooring off camera, just because that does take me a really long time just to figure out which ones I'm going to do. But in the kitchen I decided to use one of the new wallpapers that we actually got with the pack, which is this really beautiful, I think it's kind of like a wooden tile, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure, it looks a little bit wooden, but then it still looks like a tile, so I'm not quite sure which one it is, but it's really beautiful. And then I also did pair it with one of the new floors that we got in the pack, and I believe we have 2 wooden floors in this pack, and I just used the kind of the slimmer slats of wood, and I just absolutely love it. And I really love that throughout the rest of the build, I'm pretty sure I just used a white wallpaper in, and with this really dark wood, there's such a contrast because the walls are completely bare white, and then it's got this really nice dark wooden floor, and I just really do like the contrast of it. But in the kitchen, I'm just doing kind of like this little area, kind of like a little chef station. I did also just add like a little sink and stuff with like a little hand dryer and soap and stuff. Your chefs can always clean their hands. And now I'm actually moving on and doing the main structure, or kind of like the main area for this build. So the downstairs is basically the main area for your Sims to eat, but obviously there is still other places for your Sims to eat. But I just kind of felt like this would probably be like the bigger kind of dining hall, and so in here I do have like a load of different tables and chairs and stuff, and just kind of make it like the main kind of place to eat. But you obviously can eat other places. But as you walk in through the front door, I decided to kind of do like this little mirror effect with the wall, and I do actually go back in a little while and just add a sign to the front of the yacht to kind of display the yacht name. And I actually did it in the inside of the build as well. So as you walk in through the front door, you kind of see this kind of little table, which I believe is from Dine Out, and then I use these mirrors which are from Spa Day, and they've kind of got these lights around them. And the mirror that I actually used, or not the mirror, the table that I used from Dine Out has a similar kind of lights, and so it kind of looks seamless. And then I put kind of like a logo which could be the yacht name on that mirror, and I just really like the effect it gives. And then on that little table, I just cluttered it up with one plant that I believe might be from Dine Out or City Living. I'm not completely sure. I think it is Dine Out though, them lily flowers. And then the 2 little plants either side is a little thing that I like to do sometimes when I'm doing side tables. I'm not quite sure how I want to cluster it, because I didn't want this to be overly cluttered, because I wanted it to be quite modern. And so what I just did is I use these little Spa Day kind of flowers, and they come in a load of different swatches, and one of the swatches is just kind of like a plain white swatch. And I just place these 2 little flowers either side, and I feel like it still gives the cluttered look, but it's not too overly cluttered. But now moving in, I'm just kind of doing the main dining area. So over here we have 3 tables which are right at the front of the yacht, so they probably do get the best view. But then we have got some other bigger tables, and then another smaller table as well. So I think the maximum amount of people that you can actually come into this restaurant is 4 people, or 4 Sims. But obviously if you want to add some more chairs, then obviously feel free to do that. But I just didn't want to cluster it up with too many tables and chairs, so I just kind of kept it to a bare minimum. And now I'm just going to go around, and I added them curtains that we got in the pack, and they are absolutely beautiful. I'm really happy with them, and they come in so many lovely swatches. I just added a few. I didn't add them to all of the windows because I didn't want it to be too overly cluttered with them, but I just added them where I felt like it was necessary. And I felt like especially the 2 curtains right next to the little sliding doors just work really well. But now, as you can kind of see, I'm just going, and I added that sign to the front of the yacht, and I just kind of did a bigger half wall, and then I just put the sign across. And then I'm actually going to kind of build the half wall outside the lot area, because if you try and build a half wall in the middle of other half walls and you've got kind of like a roof trim, or not a roof trim, like a wall trim on them, then it will try and copy that wall trim. But if you kind of move it away and then do it and then place it in, then it won't copy over that wall trim. So I just did that and then add the little sign in. But now I'm actually moving upstairs, and I'm just doing the little bathroom area. So this lot does just have 5 bathrooms. They're gender neutral, so it can be for any kind of Sims, and it's just kind of like one big bathroom. I didn't have a ton of space to work with. Being such kind of like an oddly shaped lot, it was really difficult to try and figure out. And so the majority of the second floor is mainly just toilets, and the other part of it is just kind of like a walkway into kind of like the upstairs dining area. But in the toilets, I just have 5 little toilets, and then I use a Spa Day toilet doors, which recently got updated, I believe. And then I also got to use the new kitchen counters that we got, and these are probably some of my favorite counters that we now have in the game. And this is my first time playing with them or using them, and I already know how much I'm going to use them, and just they are just so beautiful. I especially love the little wicker baskets on either end. I just think they're so adorable. Currently we don't have a bar version of them or any like cabinet versions of them, but I believe that was a mistake, and they're probably going to patch that in, which I really hope they do that soon, because I really want to create some really big grand modern kitchens with these counters. But in the bathroom, I did just clutter it up with a couple of little items to kind of make it seem like a more communal bathroom. So I added these little get to work wall decorations. So we've got a little soap, and we've got like a little kind of like paper dispenser as well, which I think is really cute. And then I also did just add a single mirror just at the end of the bathroom, because where there was windows above the sink, I couldn't really add any more, like I couldn't really add a mirror there because I feel like it would just clip in, it would look a bit weird. And so I just added this big fitness stuff mirror just kind of like the end of the bathroom, just where it goes to a little bit of a point. But now moving on, I'm just cluttering this little hallway outside the toilet. So one of the doors does lead into the toilet, and then the other one just leads into like a kind of little stairwell, so your Sims can go either upstairs or downstairs. But in here I still wanted there to be a few objects, so I used one of the new sofas that we got, which I absolutely love. It's a 2-seater sofa and it's so beautiful. I also used one of them, and then I just used a different kind of mix of wall decorations and paintings. At first I was actually going to go for these Dine Out ones because they have a few boat pictures on them and a couple of pictures of the sea, but it wasn't feeling very modern to me, so I decided to kind of switch them out for this Dine Out one, which I absolutely love. And it's a massive pop of colour because it's all these white walls and then this really big red painting. But now moving on to the third floor. So up here, like I said, I do actually have some sun loungers, but if you don't want them in your game, then you can just delete them and replace them with a few tables. But up here I do actually use the My First Pet stuff little side table, but initially when you actually get this out of the build and buy catalogue, it's a little bit big. And so what I actually did is I sized it down, and then I used this red shelf, which I'm going to do a quick explanation of this just because I do say this in all my videos, but just in case you haven't seen my videos before, it's just a CC object that allows you to move things to a certain height, and then this way if you move them, then you can kind of put them in a placement and then move the object or the table or whatever you're placing them on back into the original like placement that you wanted it, and then they won't have to kind of clip to the height of the table, because if you do try and place objects onto something that you've sized down, it will always try and clip to the original height. It's just a really useful piece of CC and I highly recommend you download it. I've got a link in my description box if you would like to. But now I'm just going to go around and add a few more tables and stuff. I also do add a bar upstairs as well, so if you want to maybe come here and have a few drinks, maybe your Sims want to come here after work or something, they can come here and maybe possibly use this as a bar venue. Obviously I decorate this to be kind of like a restaurant, but if you want it to be a bar, then you can probably do that as well. But now I'm just making the finishing touches to the second floor. So this is kind of where you can get an ocean view. This is one of the places where your Sims could come and sit outside and enjoy the views and enjoy the breeze and stuff. And I kind of figured that maybe if your Sims wanted to come here on a date, then this would probably be a really good place for them to come because the views are absolutely beautiful. But moving on to the last little area of this build, and this is probably one of my favorite areas. I just absolutely love it. It is so simple, but I just think that it really does work. I just use these new 3-seater sofas which we've recently got in the new pack, and then these little palm trees, and just kind of make it like a little enclosed little area, and I just think it's so sweet. But I'm just going to finish up this build and just add a few more objects here and there to kind of make it look a little bit more boat-like. But I'm actually going to wrap up this voiceover here. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this little yacht restaurant. And as always, if you do like my content, then please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speed building video. Bye guys!